Hello, my name is Anieti Etuk and welcome to the HTML tutorial course. This web development course is for absolute beginners, for teens and for kids. I've been working with companies building websites for clients and teaching people how to build websites. This is the second time I'm having this course on web development. For this particular course, we'll look at front-end web development. We'll get to understand what is HTML and what are the requirements. Then, unlike other courses where they will just get to HTML and tell you about the tags, the elements, and how to just write code, I want to look at web development from the aspect of solving a problem for a client. So a client comes with a job that these are the specifications the client wants, or there's a problem you want to solve and you know that you can present or provide a solution using a website. So how can you go about that? So I'll talk a little about problem solving and thinking of coming up with solutions to problems that you think of. Next, we'll look at how to set up your project before you start building the website. Then we'll look at the basic HTML structure and then you create your first web page. Okay, so let's start front-end web development. So when we talk about web development is the work involved in developing websites. And for now, we have two versions at our level that we just want us to concentrate on. One is the front-end web development and the other is the back-end web development. For example, if we go to Facebook, what you're seeing here, this entire environment is the front end. But what controls the engine, for example, if you type your email and then you put your password, that is controlled by the back end. If you go to ThinkCoders, for example, this design, what you're seeing here is the front end. But for example, if you want to take a course, if you want to make payment, it is controlled by the back end. If I come to a form like this and I begin to fill the form and I put my password and put my username, when I click sign up, it's the back end that controls it, but this design is the front end. So it's just like a car. The physical part that you can see is the front end. Now the engine that actually drives the car is the back end. For front-end web development, we're talking about the appearance, the physical parts, the design. And for the front end, we have three basic languages that can be used to handle the appearance of the website. Number one is HTML. HTML is used for the content and for the structuring of the website. Number two is CSS. Then number three is your JavaScript. Let's take this beautiful house, for example. To come up with the framework, the blocks, where the pillars will be, how the house will be structured, they will use HTML. But whether they will use white paint here, they will put flowers here, and they will use gray and all this other finishing, that is done by CSS. Then to control the lights, whether the lights, when you walk in, the lights will come up and turn off by themselves, whether as you drive in, the gates will close or it will open, or there will be music playing immediately you walk into the house. This is controlled by JavaScript. So these are the three things. One thing I want us to be very sure from the beginning is, in this particular course, we will concentrate on HTML alone. I will try as much as I can to avoid CSS and JavaScript. In the next course, we'll talk about CSS. So since we're looking at the beginning, I'll try not to make it complicated. And also to let you know that HTML can look not really interesting. It's just like building the house. If you're just looking at the blocks, it's not really beautiful until when you add paint and other things. But just get the basic. Now, what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And HTML is used to structure and present content. One thing I want us to be clear about from the beginning is HTML is not a programming language. HTML is a markup language. Why do we say HTML is not a programming language? Because HTML cannot be used in decision making, in logical operations. For example, if you go to Python or Java, when you're writing, you have if and else if statements. You have do and while. You have these conditions, but in HTML, you don't have those conditions. So HTML is just simply for presentation. Now, to get into building websites using HTML, we need two things. One, we need a text editor and we need our browser. Now, for the text editors, we have Visual Studio Code, we have Sublime Text Editor, Atom, we have Notepad++. There are others that you can check online, some free, some you get to pay for it. For this particular course, I'll be using Visual Studio. One of the reasons why I'll be using Visual Studio because of the IntelliSense. IntelliSense means there are some suggestions Visual Studio gives you and it makes your coding very easy. For the browser, there are different browsers: Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Opera, and Microsoft Edge. How to download Visual Studio Code? Just go to your browser and type Visual Studio Code. You will see the code.visualstudio.com. Immediately you click that, you see the latest version available. You can click that version, or you just click download. If you're using a Windows system, just click download here. Version 1.44 is the latest version as at March 2020. Now, interestingly, I have Visual Studio installed already on my system. Then the next thing we said, you need a browser. The next thing you need a browser. So for now, we have Google Chrome. This is Google Chrome. You have Mozilla Firefox. You have Opera, or you have Microsoft Edge. Please, for now, avoid Internet Explorer. Okay, so let's talk about problem solving. Problem solving is looking at challenges and developing the best solutions. For example, in your class, your teacher comes up with a math question and you begin to solve that and to come up with an answer. That is you learning how to solve problems. In real life, maybe there is no light around the area and somebody said, okay, what if we start selling generator? Now that generator is a particular problem. Another person can say, okay, why not develop solar panel? That is a solution. Another person will say, what if we sell fuel so that the generator users will refuel their gen? You see, people are always providing solutions. And interestingly, the wealthiest persons are people that always solve problems. Another way to look at problem solving is to think of what can I do better, faster, easier, or cheaper. Somebody is selling textbooks for 10,000 naira. You can think of, okay, the amount, 10,000 naira is very high. What if I develop an e-copy of that book and I sell it for 1,000 naira? That is a solution. Another thing is what is not done well. Somebody is providing a service but is not doing it well. People are always complaining. That is a problem. One person can look at how can I solve that particular problem for them. One other thing is the volume of users. When you're looking at solving problem, look at the number of persons that will use that particular solution. It helps in the growth process of your solution. So in case you want to start a business with it, as you have more users, it means the business will grow faster. So for our web development class, we're looking at a simple solution: education. If you check with what is happening, this is April 2020. What is happening the world over is making a lot of students to stay at home. So we begin to say that is a challenge because probably the students, they're not supposed to be at home. What is the challenge, or what is the opportunity in this particular issue? So let's look at the solution. For now, the students, they're at home, and some parents want them to learn from home. So what if we create an online school where students can learn? So what can they do with this online school? They can register, they can see the timetable, they can select a subject, and then they can study the topics in the subject, for example, maths. And then they can ask questions and then get feedback. They can take tests and exams and see their results. What if we build a website that can handle this? Now you see how our learning web development is related to problem solving. So we're building a website that is more like an online school where students can register and then take courses. We'll take it from ground up. With that, we get into project setup. When you want to start a website, the first thing is to create a folder, the main folder that will carry everything, because when you begin to upload your contents to the server, it will be better if everything is organized, and a folder will help you to put everything in a particular place. Then inside that folder, you create your resources folder, meaning if you have images, you put them in a folder. If you have videos and other contents, then the next thing is to create your HTML file using any of the text editors. Like I said, in this class, I'll be using Visual Studio Code. HTML files end with the extension .html. So the next thing, go to desktop, click new, and click folder. Give the folder a name. Let's call it Online School. That's the name of the project. Open Visual Studio Code. So immediately Visual Studio Code comes up. There's one thing I just want to show you to do for now. I'll show you other things as we proceed. Go to your manager and click settings. Under commonly used, your autosave, it is off by default. So set it to after delay and then set this one to 1000. What this does for you is you don't need to save your document every time you type before you test it. the system will automatically save for you. So just do this too, and you can keep the font at 14. Next, go to File and click Open Folder. Remember, we have our folder on our desktop. So this is the folder Online School, and I click it and I click Select Folder. This is my folder, and I click here to add my first HTML file. Now, the first page on your website should be your index.html. So I click this and I type index.html. Automatically, it creates my first web page. It's blank. So if I go to that folder on my desktop, if I click, you see index.html. If I open it, you see it's blank. It's showing index.html is blank. There is nothing written there. Just type welcome to my first website. I don't need to click save because of my autosave is on. Go to that website and I refresh. You'll see welcome to my website, to my first website. So that's why it's called the text editor. Anything you type here will show. But this is not what we want with our HTML. We want to arrange our things the way it's supposed to be, the normal standard. A HTML document is made up of elements. An element consists of the opening tag, the content, and the closing tag. For example, this write-up. I want to display this write-up again. I want to make it bold. So bold, for example, is B. If I go back to my web page and I refresh, you can see this is bold and this is not bold. And they are on one line. If I add the paragraph tag, for example, if I add the paragraph tag, now if I refresh, welcome will come down. You can see welcome to my first website, welcome to my first website. So this is what we mean by elements. HTML is made up of elements. Everything you will see in any HTML document will be surrounded by tags. So when we have the opening tag, the closing tag, and then this arrangement will follow. This is the principle in HTML. Now let's look at a simple web page, how to structure a simple web page. Every web page is made up of two sections, the head and the body. The head contains the title, the metadata, links from style and from JavaScript. Everything is inside the head. The head, you will not see it on the body part of your browser. Then the body contains everything that appears in your browser. Everything you will see, you find it here in the body part. Now, if we go to our browser, every information here is controlled by the head, but everything inside here is controlled by the body section. If we go back to our website, if we delete this basic format of HTML website, if we do doc type HTML, now this doc type HTML does not do anything per se. It only declares, it tells the browser that this is HTML5 document. Then we'll have HTML. We'll have HTML. Everything in our HTML code will be inside this HTML open and HTML close. So next thing we'll have the head, and then the next thing we'll have the body. This is the basic structure of a website. You have the HTML, open and close, you have the head, and you have the body. If you mouse over this, you see the definition. The head element represents a collection of metadata for the document, things that define the document you're working on. For example, the character set, the title of the page, the links from CSS, JavaScript. Then the body section. The body element represents the contents of the document. Every content that will appear on your web page, you will find there. Come under here, we just add our first one. If we just type title, To give us what is the title of the page, we'll say online school. If I go to this, if you check here, it is written index.html. This is the title. If I refresh, you see the title. We have the title now as online school. This is blank because there is nothing here. Okay, so for our class, to make it really interesting, I will minimize the screen. I will have my browser here and I'll have my HTML. If I come to the body part, I add a p tag and I say hello world. If I go here and I refresh, you will see hello world. We've just completed a simple format of how we should arrange our web page using HTML.